Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for a small delay. I just finished my phone call to one of the most important people in the checkers life, in the checkers world, and I think the big things come. And the big thing is that I've already started the first ever commented live stream on checkersTV YouTube channel, and I'm really pleased that you are here. I'm really pleased that you decided to spend this time with me, and I hope you will spend many interesting hours on this checkersTV YouTube channel. This is just the part of the bigger project because I already for 4 years am running the YouTube channel in my domestic Polish language, which is warcabyTV, and as well the new project in Russian language will be presented to you soon, which is checkersTV. So those 3 pages will allow you to follow the international community in many different languages from many different corners of the world. And tonight on 11th October 2023 we have really interesting games to follow, because possibly today the world champion title is deciding between probably one of those 2 guys that you can see above my head, Jan Groenendijk and Yuri Anikeev. Yuri is the favorite one at this moment because he has 1 point more than his opponent, and Jan Groenendijk maybe has a bit easier opponents in last round, so it's really interesting. Once you will be satisfied with following this round on this stream, it is possible for me to run additional checkersTV streams from this tournament in next rounds. We will analyze mostly 2 games today. The first one, of course, is between Yuri Anikeev and Jan Groenendijk, both Grandmasters International, and the second one is between Artyom Ivanov and Itza Slump, once again Ukrainian against Dutch player. And what is really important, both those games have a big influence on the top places, because this is round-robin tournament, this is 16th round. Links to the results you can find in the description below from the men and women tournament. You can follow the results, you can follow the games, you can follow who will be the next world championship, because as we all know from the beginning of the year, Rul Boomstra, current world champion, 3-time world champion, will not defend his title because he decided to stop his professional draughts career. As well, we all know that Russian and Belarusian players are banned from participating in international tournaments, so it was not possible for them to win this competition, and it was obvious that those 2 nations, Ukraine and Netherlands, will be favored to win the titles. In women's tournament, Wiktoria Motrichko, women's grandmaster, playing extremely strong during this competition, is really favored to win the title among women, and I believe she fully deserved it, because many years of her career, many years of progress that she made is really unbelievable. Going to the games, I will just make a small update about what we do see on the board. Last move that I made on my virtual checkers board was 32-28. Of course, feel free to comment, feel free to subscribe the checkersTV YouTube channel, feel free to leave the thumb up below the video, because it will help to promote drafts or checkers content worldwide. In this position, I don't know exactly, and I will not change maybe the... Oh, it was not that way, of course it was that way that Jan Groenendijk played, because on the camera I saw that those 2 moves were made. Why they are playing on the street? That's just the beautiful look of the playing hall capsule. Of course, in this position Jan couldn't play here because the majority capture rule works, and this small combination would be made. Of course, according to the rules, you can't take 1 piece once, you can take 2. And after those, After this capture, 2 pieces would be taken, and this one would be captured in the next move, and white would have 1 piece more. So of course this was necessary to play, and here Yuri decided perhaps to play here and not 42-37 as I see and analyze. And after 5, 10, 42, 38 was played. What I can say about those two games, those games are played quite slowly. So it is highly possible that we will have a lot of emotions in the hours just before the time control. Just to remind you, for those who don't know, the time control is 90 minutes for 45 moves, and then you got, after making 45th move, the increment of 30 minutes plus 30 seconds per move to finish the game. So after 72 minutes that round is played already, the white pieces made 13 moves and only 12 moves were made by black pieces. So both guys, especially Jan, I think, likes to play with lack of time, but in this game probably as the position will get tougher and tougher, we will have a lot of emotions. Thank you very much for clicking the subscribe button, for joining checkersTV YouTube channel. I really appreciate that, and you won't regret, because this channel will work and will grow, I hope, as the worldwide place to follow the checkers live. We are waiting for the decision of Jan Groenendijk. Of course, in this position, most easy moves to make were already made, so now it's time to find out what the plan will be for the next moves and how Yuri Anikeev plays it. Maybe let's analyze it from the very beginning. Classical opening, I think that it was opened that way, and exchange on this diagonal center, really famous and popular opening for black, and in this position, just after 1923, Yuri Anikeev decided to play 37-31. We used to see continuations like this, for example, 6-11, 37, 12-17, 36-31, and after 8-12 there is a possibility of making double exchange and bring the position to the position with this one edge piece 36. But this is a theoretical line with many different plans available there. I guess that players just didn't want it to make it in the standard way. Of course, just playing like this is possible, but after 37-32, dark pieces can go to the outpost, and maybe the tension in the position is a little weaker, and it could give a simple play for the dark pieces. Maybe this is what Anikeev didn't want. He played to 31, and this structure of 3 pieces, of course, those are edge pieces, and I don't advise you, if you are not Grandmaster International, to build position that way with those edge pieces, because you should be interested in central part of the board, central squares, but it gives a possibility of building the fork lock. Now, if those, for example, that piece would go to 27, then white pieces would have this formation, which is called the fork lock, like a fork. It looks like a fork. And it blocks and it locks, it binds the position of dark pieces, because many moves are not allowed then, like for example playing with those pieces, and once you can't play with those pieces as well, those pieces have the limited possibilities. So what is really interesting, those two games that we will be following, of Anikeev and of Artyom Ivanov, were played with this fork lock idea. After some exchanges that are not possible to avoid in the game of checkers or in the game of draughts, because making exchanges is the way to gain space on the board. So after those exchanges, you have the simple plan of developing pieces, of centralizing pieces. And this is what we can see in many tournaments once both players just making moves a little bit faster. But in this moment, of course, that was not a good idea, possibly for Yuri Anikeev to develop to the center, because this structure, this column is working with 23-29. And actually the other possibility of using it was with sacrificing this piece, and no matter which direction white pieces would take, it would end up with an exchange back and leaving this one standing on the edge for white pieces. So it's a small thing, but small thing that you can play against in the drafts game. After 23-29, no matter which direction white pieces would take, black would land on 37, and this piece of course would be recaptured for white pieces, but the position opens and maybe it's not a good idea to allow opponent to decide what will be played in the game. So Yuri Anikeev exchanged this piece, breaking this column, this formation in the center, and of course letting this piece 37 to go further. And that was a really interesting move played by Jan Groenendijk, 12-17. Of course, this is the move working in this opening after exchanging 11-22. He didn't want to play a 6-11, but I honestly can't see the big difference between those two moves. Maybe he wanted his opponent to play 37-32 and think about 4 o'clock in this position. Maybe he wanted to play against it. I don't know. Possibly it was. After all, Yuri Anikeev did not choose to play to the 4 o'clock, and he develops the right wing. After all, Kepso, that is present on the chat, we played quite similar plan in our game during Polish Championship 2 months ago, and I won this game against Kepso, so Yuri Anikeev just chooses what I chose in my game. And after 8-12, developing piece number 40, 3-8, 32, 38. So finally we know that Yuri Anikeev didn't want to go to the 4 o'clock. About 4 o'clock, the problem is, for example, that it's quite easy to break the position, and right after this move the engine scan shows half a piece of advantage for black pieces. Why? Because they can go immediately to the center, and once you have the 4 o'clock, you don't want your opponent to have the strong center and strong developed left wing, and in this position it would happen, and the area of the board to play safely for white pieces would be really limited. After this move, 20-25, this edge is closed, and it won't be easy for white to find a nice plan to play. So Yuri Anikeev was definitely aware of this and decided to play 32-28 and made this small threat of 26-21 that Jan avoids with 1-6. Hello Damiano. Hello Kuba. What happens there? 38-32, of course, breaking this position 20-27 is not possible because white pieces would take this direction, and leaving this alone 27 would be punished with simple combination 1-4-2. So the position could not break, and after 5-10 this move 42-38 was played. Do we have the decision? Whoa! I was expecting something like 1923, but I guess that Jan Groenendijk didn't want this continuation because another exchange is made by Yuri Anikeev, and you can now see how different this 4 o'clock is than the one that we analyzed before. Because in the position from the previous moves, it was possible for black pieces to go to 23 and take central part of the board over, but in this position it is not that easy, and as you can see, all those pieces are locked by a 4 o'clock. There are many different combinations. For example, after 13-19, it is possible for white to make this exchange, powerful maybe exchange, sacrificing 2 pieces. Even it's not exchange, this is just a combination. Another one, and we that way create the free tempo. Italian players watching, hi Renzo, nice to see you. Of course we know each other from the tournaments, for example in Poland, in Julinek, but also some other international ones. And now 35-30, and after we created this free tempo and made a free move, we sacrifice another one and take 3 to the king. But it's not that easy to calculate if this combination is working or not for both sides, and it takes time. If you can avoid losing time and you can avoid the variation that just maybe gives the opponent some possibilities to win by the move that you don't have to make, maybe it's better to avoid it to just save the time. But computer shows it's equal position because there are many loops, many catching possibilities for this king. There is no way to avoid it, and just after another move the king will be finally taken, I guess. Yep. After, for example, this one we sacrifice one piece, we sacrifice other two, and with this loop we kill the king, and after that we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 against 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10 against 10 pieces, but it looks a bit safer for white pieces who can make a breakthrough. So this deep variation could happen in the game, but didn't happen after this exchange to the center if Jan would choose it, but he didn't, as we know, and Jan decided in this position to make this really interesting move, 1924. This is not obvious one, of course, because once you start to learn how to play checkers, you are taught that this cooperation of those two pieces, 22 and 24, is not a good one, because it is quite easy to make use of those two pieces on many different ways. For example, you can lock them, and it's not possible to make exchange 1923 or 1823 again, because then you sacrifice, you lose two pieces. And other way is to connect those two pieces by a tactical ways. For example, having here some columns, sacrificing one, collecting two. It is always a danger idea. But Jan Groenendijk in this position had to have everything calculated well. And of course, as you can see on the evaluation right to the board, this bar, you can see it is absolutely equal, so there is no way for white to use it, because at first glance we could think that that could be the possibility for white pieces to play 32 to 27. And if black pieces would make a mistake, something like that, and that, for example, move, it would be lost position to dark pieces who are just locked on many different sides of the board. They don't have the space to make the moves, which is absolutely extremely important. So what would be the way to play then? Of course, this is a mistake, and it gives huge chances for dark pieces to take one piece over by playing 17 to 21, and of course you cannot take 26 to 17 because you allow your opponent to collect 3 pieces. It's not the way to play. And after 28-17, black takes, white takes, and black takes another 2 pieces. One more for dark pieces. Of course, this one is standing far, and possibly it will be recaptured for white pieces, but it will take time because you have to put one piece forward and then another to attack this piece. And of course, there are some possibilities of saving it by dark pieces. After this one is another interesting combination by playing here, losing another piece, one more and one more, and having 3. But this one is still the piece more for dark pieces, if I count it well. So that is not the option for Yuri to go 32-27, because it gives better position for white. So what will be chosen by Yuri? What has been played already, maybe? Oh, Yuri exchanged this piece. So why was that made by Yuri Anikeev, Ukrainian Grandmaster? If Yuri played, for example, 46 to 41, of course, black can't play something like 14, 19. Okay, they can, because after something like that, they can exchange back, and things are working fine. But this is the passive way of playing. I believe that after losing this piece on the square number 19, what Jan wanted after all, there is a possibility of going to 27, to this outpost, and this piece is working against all those pieces that it limits. Pascal still just subscribed. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for leaving the subscription. Of course, Pascal, as always, thank you very much for commenting and being an active viewer. A week bending like 22 and 24 is only weak when it's actually weak. Not sure it was Clerk or another GMI who said, but was brought up in training some time ago. Of course, I can. I think that I some way explained what you mean by this comment, but of course it's not the move that is chosen at first glance, even by a bit stronger players. But of course, GMIs sometimes have a totally different way of thinking of drafts, and they prove it by playing moves like this, for example. So this one, but it has to be, of course, calculated. It has to be calculated. Then small mistake could make a game really tough for the binded side, but not for Jan Groenendijk. Absolutely. So not allowing opponent to go to 27, Yuri Anikeev decided to leave it that way, because what had happened, what made Jan after playing 19 to 24? We've had 4 clock possibilities on the left wing once we analyzed this structure, but now after 1924 we have the semi 4 clock, because this is the formation without 25, which is called the semi 4 clock. And according to theory, the 4 clock or semi 4 clock are stronger once you don't have pieces behind it on the main diagonal, which is the longest one. 10 squares long diagonal of the board. And why? Because those pieces usually are not playing in the game. You want these pieces to be involved in some other part of the board, and then semi 4 o'clock is quite strong. And not allowing Jan to go to the 27, Yuri Anikeev made his exchange back. Of course, he couldn't exchange forward because of losing too simple 1 for 2. What is interesting, if this piece was here on 40, then white would have nice combination here with sacrificing this piece, moving 12 away, sacrificing another one, and collecting 3 to a king. But this piece is standing here, and for Yuri it's good actually, because you never want this piece on 40 without having the possibility of attacking the semi 4 o'clock 34 to 30. Exchange back, and did we have a decision from this position? I see on the camera that not. So, my dear viewers, the capture back for white pieces was the move number 15. And still Jan hasn't made the move number 15. So it means that from this point, Yuri has to make 30 moves and Jan Groenendijk 31 moves. And they spent already half of the time till the time control. You know what it means? It means that we will have a lot of emotions, and I believe that in such games, once you play opening that slow, it highly increases the possibility of resultative game. So it, in my opinion, can be resultative, and if some of those players wins the game, then he will be favored to win the world champion title. In case of draw, I guess that still Yuri Anikeev will be the one who is favored, but of course we'll follow another Ukrainian and Dutch game between Artyom Ivanov and Itse Slump. those players, trio of players, which are Yuri Anikeev, Jan Groenendijk, and Itse Slump, and Artyom Ivanov are the most favorite to win the game. Jan is at his most dangerous when he has only 1 minute. That's absolutely true. I've seen it many times. But, you know, Pascal, the first ever tournament with this time control was played in Polish, not first ever, but the first ever that I followed and commented on my channel, but in Polish, unfortunately for you, was the game between Jan Groenendijk and some Russian female player, because that was the time that they were allowed to play. And she was... what was her name? I can't remind. But despite having only 1 minute on the clock, Jan lost this game. And actually she played great game. She was absolutely perfect without making any mistakes, any blunders, and Jan was just playing worse. What is the prognostic for this game? Draw or Jan pass to the first position? If I would predict the result of this game, I think that Yuri Anikeev is just extremely tough opponent to win against. But if there is someone to beat him, it is Jan Groenendijk in this competition. But my prediction of the result would be a draw. My prediction of this result would be a draw. What do you think? What do you think will be the result of this game? Jan exchanged 17-22, and after white captured, he took to 22. Of course, making once again the cooperation of those two pieces, 22 and 24, but it is not causing any problems to the position of dark pieces. And we are waiting for the decision of Yuri Anikeev, and I think they will play a bit faster than in the opening, because the time pressure will be slowly growing and growing. We have much more tension in this position than in the game between Artyom Ivanov and Itse Slump. So now we are switching the game. We are switching the game to the duel between Artyom Ivanov, who is playing white pieces, and Itse Slump, who is playing dark pieces. So for this moment, the pictures around the board are not valid, but the right names of the players you can always see here once I'm switching the boards. And let's see how the game was played. And Artyom Ivanov played 34-29. And of course some variations of color system, of favor opening could be played, but Itse Slump played something that Ton Seibrand's fans would like to see, which is 20-25, and possibilities of building the Ton Seibrand's 4 clock. So another game, another important game, another 4 clock possibilities. And after 40, 35, 14, 220, 45, 240, Itse is playing 19-24 and is building the quickest possible 4 o'clock in the game. Pascal, I think the game from Jan you meant was against Agata Parachina. That's right, that's the name I forgot. And I was broadcasting and commented that game live. And you know how it is. Sometimes if someone favorite is playing against weaker player, you just want the weaker one to win. Because you like the stories like that, if you are a viewer, observer of those things. And many people, many viewers kept fingers crossed for Agata, and she played amazing game and fully deserved winning against Jan Groenendijk, and the game was played perfectly. Small portion of electrolytes, and following the game further, Artyom is not having any problems to play against 4 clock. He just plays 50-45. So standard opening, and after 30-28, like I mentioned in the previous game, once there is a 4 clock, you just want to break the formation of the central structure of your opponent, and the mostly chosen move in this position, I guess, is to exchange, maybe something like that, but after this exchange immediately white pieces can break the 4 o'clock structure by sacrificing 2, third one, and collecting 3 pieces. The position opens, and opening part of developing pieces will be played for many moves then. As well, after exchanging to 22 and just playing something like 37, 32, if you want to hold the 4 o'clock, you have to play one of those 2 moves, this or this, because other way, for example, for after 5 to 10, the 4 o'clock can be broken that way. Of course, I assume that Grandmaster would not like to make so many exchanges, but I show you the possibilities. It can be played this way to avoid the exchanges that I showed before, but there are another exchanges, like for example after this move and this one, you have the possibility, just forgetting about possible attack to the outpost, of making exchanges that way to break the 4 o'clock formation. And there was a time that many players stopped playing 4 o'clock because it was thought that after breaking its position, white pieces or the side that is playing against 4 o'clock just gets the better position. So this is something that could be discussed. Another move to save the 4 o'clock would be 14 to 19, and it would give a bit of tension to the position. Once we mean the Sabrans 4 o'clock, I mean 2 pieces on the main diagonal behind the 4 o'clock, which is here. This is something that was possibly invented, but at least it was played best way by Ton Sabrans, 2-time, if I remember well, world champion, and the legend of draughts. What then? After 32-28, Itza played 17-21, and some interesting move from Artyom Ivanov, because with this one he forces his opponent to attack 13-19. Why? Because there are a few traps to be made by white pieces. For example, after 11-17 could be played 34-30, sacrificing 1, taking 3, 1 piece more for white pieces, and if dark pieces would see it and play something like 5-10, there is another way of surprise your opponent by sacrificing 23-19 and 31-27, and you get 3 pieces, you have 1 more, but of course this is not the GMI level. So the only move to be played for dark pieces is here, 13-19. Maybe there was something like this, but it's not looking that well. Maybe something to think about playing this position, but dark pieces could be afraid of playing this locked wing, because you need space here. You need the control here against opponent's central part of the board. And after 13-19, there is not it's not easy to find a free tempo here, because what you would like to play to develop your piece as well, of course you cannot play 37-32 because you would sacrifice 3 pieces. So what would be the way? Of course it's not possible to play here 34-30 because black would take this piece firstly and then take 3 to the king. So the possibility would be, for example, maybe here 31-26, 1, 2, 1, but it's a problem now because black will take not here or here, but will have this capture, and now no matter which direction would white pieces take, they would land on 29. So that's the reason why this move is not that good, because having the piece on 29 gives possibility for black pieces to build a really strong 4 o'clock, against this piece. Not now, but in the future, of course. Possibly that's the reason why Artyom Ivanov chose to play here. 38, 32, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1. At first glance, there is a big problem to develop left wing. After all, you have many pieces there, and this piece standing on 28 just blocked the road of development for those pieces. So Artyom decided to attack 31-26, and I don't know at this moment what happened then. I have to just scroll the game, the preview, and we'll be analyzing it move by move. Okay, so it's a slump played here 5 to 10, and that's the reason why this game is just not that interesting as the first one, because here many moves have been made. This exchange back, so the position is totally open, and it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 against 14. Open position. I guess players played quite fast from this moment, developing pieces. So after the position opens, breaks, your plan is always just to centralize, develop pieces, and then bring the game closer to the maneuvering, important maneuvering. So this phase of development is just not that interesting. But actually, It's a Slump was thinking a lot in this game, in this position. Interesting thing. Finally, he decided immediately to take over the 24 square. This is really important one. I believe this is the one that lets you control the wing, in this case the long wing of dark pieces. So keep on mind that controlling this one is really important in drafts or in checkers. Going further. What was the idea of Artyom Ivanov? Just to develop this weak standing on 36. Of course, his job to do right now is to develop the left wing that was undeveloped before, and he activates this piece from the edge square to the center. Eight 13, so building central one. Of course, Artyom Ivanov keeps distributing pieces from the left to the right side. He played 38-33, which is obvious move to play. Once you create your position, try to have it balanced. How to make it? If you split the board to two sides, you can count the pieces, and to the right there is now 6 pieces, and to the left there is 2, 4, 6, 8 pieces. So it's not balanced, but once you will move one piece from the left side to the right side, then you will have the balanced position 7 pieces for side. For 9, that is what Artyom was doing. 15-20. And what is really important about developing your pieces, I guess that mostly good idea would be to finish to develop one wing and then starting to take care about another one, because that will allow you to build some important structures on one side, and then you can build another on the other side. So now it says developing his left wing till the end. And that was the position as well when Artyom Ivanov was thinking quite longer. But here 17 moves have been played. And we already know the reason why Artyom Ivanov was thinking that long. Because he played 47-42. And like Alexei Chizhov said, 10-time world champion, moving 47 to 42 is really important move of the game, because if you bring 47 to play, you just lose very important piece. Some people say that this is the golden one to save your left flank, your left wing. So moving it comes with a big responsibility. So perhaps that's the reason why Artyom Ivanov was thinking that long. And finishing the Alexei Chizhov topic, he was playing with this piece only when he had direct purpose, direct target in the plan for this piece. Itza played here, so he built the structure, he built the column, he developed the pieces on the left flank, so soon he will be interested in the right one. And that happened. 41, 46, and piece number 6 was entering the game. And after 46, 41, another piece developed, 11 to 17. Oh, I missed some moves. Okay, and at this moment it's after this 45-40. This is also important one, because after playing 45-40, you are not able anymore to build this structure, which is called the Olympic, I believe in English as well. Building and having those two pieces covered, 45 and 40, is really important, because it lets you, especially in classical positions, when you have the lock in the central symmetric board, symmetric part of the board, it is really important to have Olympic to make combinations, limitations, etc., exchanges. And playing 45-40 without having 50, of course, is not giving anymore for white people, the white pieces, sorry for my mistakes, the possibility of building this structure of Olympic. And that's the reason, possibly, why Itza decided to play 20-25. Still, the evaluation of the position is quite equal, but with slight advantage of dark pieces. And after this one, there is a threat, 14 to 20, and having this structure working once again, if there were dark pieces on the move, they could play, sacrifice one piece and take two. But of course, this is time for Artyom Ivanov to react, and he did have two possibilities. The first one was to make an exchange, 30 to 30, but after those exchanges, once again, it would be necessary to bring some pieces from the left to right flank. He didn't decide to play there, and he went to 29, which is quite interesting once again, because this is now working for clock. At this position, this is just a column with additional HP is 25, and it's not a fork lock because it doesn't lock anything, but after it goes to 29, there is the lock, because now you can't play moves like that, 29, 23 and 33, 28. So this is just locked, the fork lock. So what is the idea? Of course, now this fork lock is not having any pieces behind on the main diagonal, so at first glance it is strong, but on the other hand, there are not many pieces binded by this fork lock, because many pieces were developed from this side. Who do you think will be the next world champion? Who do you think will win this tournament? I will just ask you this question. Feel free to write down in the chat. If you are the subscriber of checkersTV YouTube channel, then you are free to leave the comments in the comment section. If you have any predictions, who will be or who is your favorite to win the game, let me know on the chat. And really interesting plan that I would never say will be chosen by Itza. 1823, but actually this is the move that was suggested by the computer, by the scan. 1823. To make this exchange and maybe to turn his plan to attack this flank. After all, there is less pieces, so maybe that's the idea. If this game ends in a draw, I think Jan has an advantage. Do you remember, Pascal, who is Jan playing against in the last rounds? So you think Yuri Anikeev should be trying to win this, to be the world champion? And do you have maybe what would happen if they were equal about points? Is Jan having better result with higher rated player? Because the number of wins would be equal then, I guess. And after this exchange, immediately another exchange from Artyom Ivanov, and that was move number 26 from white side. 8 to 12, interesting one. So now without this move played, 7-12, maybe Itze still wants to hold the possibility of building the Olympic. Because it's not looking that logic, but it gives the possibility of making good balance in the position, because of course the right flank of dark pieces is weakened right now. Maybe that could be the option. If this game, Cohen asks why is that? Possibly because of the opponents that they will be playing in the last rounds. I know that Yuri, because you know how the tournament started. You did have something like 2 mini groups. One was between Dutch players, because there is 9 Dutch players playing in the competition, and another one was for Ukrainians and others. And they played against each other, and then Yuri had a big advantage because his group was theoretically easier, and he played against, for example, players from Curaçao, etc. And Jan played against grandmasters from Netherlands, and now the groups changed, and they are playing against opponents of themselves from the first part of the competition. Jan's win against Cordier is the likely decider if they end with the same number of points. Okay, so Arnaud Cordier will be just classified higher than opponents that Yuri Anikeev won against. In case of equal number of points, the evaluation is like that. The first one is number of victories, but they didn't lose any game, so they would have if Jan follows and wins another game, but I guess that he is playing still with Clifton Agata, so I would rather to say that easy 2 points for Jan. So number of victories, but if they are unbeaten, then of course other evaluations come. That's right, Cohen, that's right. Jan will have a win with the higher rated player, because that will be the next evaluation in this case. Following the game, after this 8-12, which was not that obvious to me, 41-37, easy move to play, because there you have structures still working, you can't move here. And honestly, this one is really annoying for white pieces, I guess, because you cannot do anything on the right flank. And can you see that? The evaluation of the scan engine, it is 0.4 for dark pieces. So it looks like having this column working without this possibility for white, despite the fact that white's position looks really safe and good, white pieces have a problem. A big problem, because nothing can be done on the right side. Even plan like going this goes nowhere, because you can move this piece to 40, and what then? What then? If this piece would stand here, there are some possible combinations, like sacrificing 2 or 4 to 30 and taking 2, it would be losing for sure. And you won't be able to go to 39, 34, because this one would be hanging, and it doesn't make any sense. Clifton Agata in last round, I think. So that is interesting scenario. So honestly, I'm starting to think that Jan could be the favorite one to get the world title. Really interesting finish in this tournament. Really interesting one. That's something that we would like to see, to follow, because there were tournaments where the things were decided faster. 3-8 was played by Itze Slump. In this case, let me just take a look at the tournament table. Where do I have it? I don't have it anywhere. I have to open it. Because what is really interesting, I think that from this position it's not possible for Artyom Ivanov to win this game. So maybe it is possible for Itze. And what is Itze's position in the standing? He is on the 4th place. So now, if Jan Groenendijk would play a draw against Yuri Anikeev and Itze Slum would win against Artyom Ivanov, he would have the same number of points as Jan Groenendijk and the same number of victories. And he would have Valneris, Atze and Bobkov till the end. So all 4 players, I believe, are still in the game. It's Joel Atze. Who is he playing against right now? Hein Meyers, Van Winkel and Itze Slump. And okay, he played, he has the last round against Nimby, who is not playing in the tournament. Not Nimby, but some Diaga, sorry for that. That won't be counted. So he has 1 more game played. And as well, Artyom Ivanov has 1 more game played. As I see, 15. Of course, we also know that in 2012 Jan had a chance to win the championship in the last round and Agata may have a good day. Of course, everything can happen. Everything can happen. After all, Jan is born in 97, as I remember, or even later, maybe later even. He was really young in 2012 when he was becoming the vice world champion with big chances to become the youngest ever world champion, but that was Alexander Georgiev time. And then he faced, that was the time, so maybe it was later. It was later, Pascal, it was to 2014, because he was too young in 2012. I was playing against Jan in 2012 in Lille. And we played a draw on classical time, and that was the system with extra games, and during the rapid game I won after a simple endgame combination, but he was not playing that tough. It was later, it was 2014 or 15, yeah, it was 15. So he is maybe, what year he is born? 98, okay. So still, he was 17 then. He was 17, he was extremely young. And once I was playing against him in Lille, he was 14. He was 14. Okay, let's catch up the games. And meanwhile, we'll be analyzing the table. And I have to ask you, if there are you, my dear English-speaking viewers, would you like to have a lot of more content, commented tournaments in English? Would you like it? Would you like to follow it? Do you miss it? Do you think that there should be a lot of content, checkers and drafts content? And I apologize, and I think that you will forgive me using a lot of checkers word. I know, of course, the difference between drafts and checkers, and the thing that drafts lovers would like to use the word drafts everywhere, but with my projects that are supported by Gleb Ushakov, who is my partner in it, we just want to attract all the world with the beauty of the game, and we have to use the word checkers, which is recognized by big number of people worldwide. So I think you understand it. 2012 I played against Jan European Championship, and where it was held, 2012, where it was, I don't know if I played it. Some Tallinn maybe, some Bovets. I don't remember where the tournaments were played then. Okay, back to the games. Back to the games. After 3-8, the decision by Artyom was made on this move, 49-44. And 7-11. Maybe Itza made this move because he was thinking that possibilities of Artyom are slowly missing. And maybe that his plan will be to play here, 28-22, and he wanted to prepare this piece here. And also, moving one is always some kind of showing your opponent your possibilities in the future part of the game. European Championship 2012 was in Emmen, just like World Championship 2015. Okay, so I totally forgot about Emmen. I played my first European Championship in 2008 or 7? 7 maybe, in Tallinn, Estonia. But I was not present during this one. And as you know, I would always like to see more streams in English. I definitely do, and thank you for letting me this know, Pascal. So that was the moment of tough decision for Artyom Ivanov. He was stretching every side on the board, on his chair. Not an easy one to make. Checkers is much better denomination in English for our game than drafts, of course it is. Bella Pete, Damian, Luca Salvato, great greetings for Italy. Nice to see you here, thank you very much, and greetings from Warsaw, Poland to you as well. Drafts is British English, checkers is American English, that's right. But you know, the recognition of the word, I believe if you say, for example, because Pascal, you live in Ireland or somewhere in Great Britain, yeah? You try to explain people what you are playing, and you explain drafts. No one knows it. I guess, I bet so. And checkers is recognized by everyone. Yeah? And also, if someone tries to find something about the game on the internet, what do they type? Checkers, not drafts. Just take a look at the videos, at the views of the videos. If you type checkers and you have, for example, how to play checkers, then you have hundreds of thousands of views, which is great for ranges. And that's why I decided to create this checkersTV channel. And once you type drafts, okay, you can have some FMGD old game from the beginnings of the YouTube that have over 1 million views. The game, for example, between Burzyński and Georgiev. But much more traffic is around, much bigger traffic is around the word checkers. And that's the way we have to go. Honestly, if the decision wasn't mine, I would change the name of International Drafts to International Checkers. Ireland, yes. And here people know the game as drafts. Oh! In internet, American English is more common. Oh, so I would not think about that at all. That they know the drafts. And Artyom played here, 31-27. So still, the fact is that in this position, the flexibility is on the black's side. The white position is quite tough because what to play on the left, on the right flank? The only way to go is here to the left side. So I think that Itza Slump is really good in maneuvering play styles. He will be the one pushing pressure on Artyom Ivanov, and it's not said that he can't win it. I believe it is possible. But what do we have in game between Yuri Anikeev and Jan Groenendijk? Everything is happening so fast there. I thought it will be interesting. Maybe they agreed for a draw? Come on. They can't make it. Come on. They agreed for a draw. No way. We have the championship game after such interesting opening. And they make a draw between themselves? No way. No, it can't be that way, guys. I would favor the change of the name in English of FMGD into World Checkers Federation. I would do the same, and I would prefer the same, Renzo. Because that's the way of greater recognition in the world, in my opinion. And, you know, 100 squares in drafts change to international checkers, and that's how I call the game and videos on the internet made by me. And thanks to that, it will have much better views than for drafts. Come on, guys, how is it possible? You have the most important, or at least one of the most important games during the World Championship, and they agree for a draw in the middle of the game. And now showing something, analyzing something. Let's see how they made it and how they got to the position. So that's the moment when we stopped following live the game. So something should happen like opening the position. 37-31. That's the new, not good way of promotion for us. So Jan decided to do what was possibly planned before, going to the outpost to 27, and I guess that Yuri just exchanged it, and they didn't want to follow it, maneuvering, etc. Just not to waste strength and time. When was the proposition made and by whom? Because we have cameras, we can follow it. So not yet. Here 7-11 was played. The exchange was made. And when they started to play fast, that was the move number 24. I just want to catch the moment. Something like this. Did we have some another exchange here? That's why Georgiev will always be the best in the world of drafts. That can be a true. Nicolas Aokubo, thank you very much for subscribing checkersTV YouTube channel. And if you don't subscribe yet, you will find new videos every Wednesday. Because today I decided to make the stream, the new video will be published tomorrow. The 69 Paranda, thank you very much as well for subscribing the channel. Thumb for you. Of course, we did see some games of Alexander Gorgiev agreed for a draw as well. One of his last games playing international against Guntis Valneris that was agreed for a draw, I published on the on my Polish channel. It is possible to follow. But you know, you never want to see it if you are a viewer. And if you want to promote drafts, promote checkers, you just need games on the top to be played, and you cannot make the results like that. It should be forbidden. Okay, so I guess when they agreed for it, before that, I'm just looking for the moment. I can't see it. Maybe without the words they made it. And after this exchange, some random moves were made to get to the 40th move and to agree for a draw. And that way, my dear viewers, the most important game that I thought will be deciding the World Championship title was finished after a bit more than 2 hours of play by a great draw in the middle of the game. What a joke from Anikeev and Groenendijk, pardon. That is something we don't want to see, that is something we don't want to follow, but I think that the other game between Slump and Artyom Ivanov will be more interesting. With the 40 moves rule, they already did a lot to reduce these draw games. What more would you want to be done that makes it forbidden? You know, sometimes if all the games are followed with cameras, if you could have some kind of player commission, player committee that knows that from some point they are starting to play fast, they agreed for a draw, at least if they want to make a show, just don't make it that quick, that fast, and play the long game, because other way you just take all the fun from the viewers. And if we want to follow the picture, they were at the point that we made this broadcast, we just wanted to follow the game, and that was a great game, maybe the first one of the tournament for them, I don't know. I didn't follow all the games. Maybe that is the bad luck for them, but there is no place for that. There is no place for that if we want to get bigger, professional, more professional, and I will try to change it. That's often tough, Cohen, but they call the drafts here too. You have the first source info from Pascal Cohen, so checkers sometimes is even 100 squares. And you know, once the theater should be made by the players and they would sit for hours, then maybe it would be less possible for them to agree for a draw, because if they have to make the theater and sit and wait and play, then why don't to play a real game? Why don't to agree for a draw? And maybe that could be the option to make it. That could be the option. On my tournaments, once I organize and I get to know that some of the top players agreed for a draw or want to agree for a draw, I just make a huge argue with them. And that's not the way, my friends, that's not the way. But what is the way, my dear viewers? My main plan was to focus on this game, and that's why I prepared those graphics, etc. I will not follow live the second game, but I think it is interesting and will be interesting, so that's the position, and I think that Slump playing with dark pieces is really favorite in this game, but he has a strong opponent of Artyom Ivanov. It can be a really important game for the world champion title, at least it is for medals for sure. If the situation will be interesting in the tournament table, it is highly possible that I will run the stream tomorrow as well, because we have final rounds and I want to stream the tournament till the end. So subscribe the checkersTV YouTube channel, follow the International Checkers group on Facebook, follow the checkersTV fan page on Facebook, and follow this channel, of course. Jan van Dijk, thank you very much for subscription. Jan, I hope you will be streamed on this channel as well in December during Polish Open 2023. That's the plan. Oh, I think that it's not a problem that I said it publicly. Out loud, I hope. I hope it's not a problem. So I bet see you tomorrow during next round, and let's make it interesting for the final moments and for challenging and finding the new world champion, the world champion 2023. Thank you very much for watching. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.